I don't know how quarantine in your country is at the moment, but my guess is that most of us are still working from home for the foreseeable future. So not to brag or anything, but I have myself been working from home way before it was cool, and I have picked up a few hacks along the way that make working from home manageable, productive, and yes, more often than not, bloody enjoyable. Let's see if any of these tips work for you too. Okay, this one is a life changer. I do the annoying things first. Anything that stresses me out or I really hate doing, I do them straight away so I won't give myself time to fret about the annoying thing for hours that day before I sit down to do it. I am my least critical in the morning, which means my brain has the least power to object to working out or replying to that annoying email or writing a complicated essay or whatever it is. Plus, the rest of the day will feel like a breeze knowing you got that irritating thing done. I'm a firm believer in a powerful routine. Knowing what a week looks like even before it starts and what's expected of me on any given moment is such a brain space freer. If I teach my brain that every Tuesday morning is podcast recording time, for example, it means that I'm conditioning myself to get into that frame of mind and I'm automatically in the right mood for it. And to have a powerful routine, you have to have an equally powerful week plan. Every Monday morning, I plan the whole week together with David, filling in our schedule so that I know I won't forget anything and that I will have enough time allocated to every task. And I do mean everything. Laundry, food shopping, dentist appointments, and so on. Black is for unfinished things, green is for finished tasks, and orange is for things I've started on but not yet finished. Oh, and bright red in bold is what I use when I put something in David's plan for him to fix for me. Usually there will also be a lot of exclamation marks as well, just to make sure he doesn't slack off at work, you know? Employees, am I right? Okay, this will be a polarizing opinion, so do tell me if you agree or not, but I'm noticing more and more just how different my brain is in the morning, afternoon, and evening. My focus, my problem-solving skills, my creativity, so much better in the morning. After lunch, forget about it. So what I've started doing is to get up quite early, 6 or 6:30, so that I'm sitting at the desk ready to kick off at 7 a.m. already. That means I have 6 uninterrupted productive hours before lunch. The stuff I get done in those hours are my best work always. Afternoons are for easy things, the fuffing about, the odd email, the Insta stories, you know. Have you experimented with this? Do you know when your most productive time of a day is? I have a teapot with a tea light heater, so I make a full pot of sencha green tea with a touch of matcha that I sip the whole morning. When I finish the pot, I just refill it, steeping the same leaves over and over again until lunch. The coziness of this makes working so much more enjoyable. Without a delicious hot drink beside me, I'm not showing up for work. It's in my contract. If you also like tea or any of the other tips today, please give me a thumbs up, it's super helpful. Another controversial habit, small lunch, big dinner. Now, hear me out before the outrage. I know this is different for everyone, but what I've personally noticed is that a heavy lunch slows me down so much I can't really do much worthwhile in the afternoon. I become too sluggish. Instead, I eat something lighter like soups and salads with a lot of tofu that keeps me full but doesn't slow me down. I feel like it's the only way to stave off that afternoon lull. Then at dinner, that's where I go crazy. I'm a big eater and I will happily eat until super sluggish at night because who cares? I'm only going to bed anyway. And I love going to bed with my tummy feeling all stuffed and happy. Again, I think this one will divide the group. So what are you? Team big lunch or team big dinner? So after lunch, when I'm a bit slow after a work-heavy morning and a yummy lunch, instead of going straight back to work at my least productive time of day, this is when I go for my daily 90-minute walk. It's like 2 p.m, the sun is still out, I get some energy from the daylight and fresh air. Well, semi-fresh air, this is London after all. And when I get back home at around 3:30, I make another pot of tea, lapsang this time, and sit down for another 2 to 3 hours of work. These hours are quick and short and have no annoying tasks, so kind of mellow down before clocking off. And this way I'm getting 8 or 9 hours of work in the day and I'm working hardest at my most productive hours. Okay, let's talk about daylight. This time of year, there's not much of it to go around. When I start working in the morning, it's still dark, and the same thing during my last 1 or 2 hours of work in the early evening. What I've been doing this year is to embrace the darkness. I don't turn on all the lights. Instead, I light candles and some soft lamps and try to stay in that early morning, almost dreamlike mood. And I find it's very good for problem solving, being on that almost asleep frequency. I'm less stressed and I'm less critical and I'm more open-minded. Good for creativity. And speaking of creativity, a huge thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. As some of you know, I've been a fan of Skillshare for years now. So if you want to start learning something new to expand your creative output, where should you start? Well, listen to this. Skillshare is an online learning community with classes that teaches you how to be more creative and how to make your passion into a business. If you're uncertain about what's next, creative challenges and productivity classes can be a great way to help you structure your time and set up achievable goals. At a time when so many important conversations are happening in our world, your voice is more essential than ever. So why not explore some classes to unlock your creativity for social good? I recently took the class DIY Product Photography, Style and Shoot Creative Stills, taught by Rachel Golotta and Daniel Inskip, photographers at Mango Street Lab. Two people I've been following personally for years. They're so talented. So whether you're looking to fend off boredom, focus on self-care through creativity, or join a similarly creative community, Skillshare is the place to keep you learning. The first 1,000 people to use the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. And after that, it's only about $10 per month. So thank you so much to Skillshare, and guys, let me know which classes you end up taking. If you're having a really annoying workday ahead of you, filled with boring things you don't want to do, here's a little tip from David. He doesn't like working from home, having no colleagues, and me busy in the other room with my door shut. So he's been trying out the Pomodoro method. Have you heard about this one? Basically, you set your timer on 25 minutes and work with complete focus, no distractions, for 25 minutes. Then you get a 5-minute break before you repeat the whole thing. David says it's really worked for him. 25 minutes is such a manageable time frame, even for boring or stressful tasks. Small chunks is easier on the psyche than a long day with no end, at least for the Davids of the world. I quite enjoy long days with no end. I'm not a pause person. Another tip for the Davids of the world who don't enjoy working by themselves at home and miss a bustling office with co-workers to water cooler chit chat with. Work with me videos. YouTube is full of them, videos of people working or studying for hours, making you feel like you're not alone. Also, a lot of these videos do the Pomodoro thing, so you can do your 25-minute time chunk together with someone. If you have friends working from home too, it's quite nice to set up a Zoom co-working call to have someone to talk to in between emails or spreadsheets or whatever you're working on. I also know that a lot of you guys are working with mine and David's podcast in the background. I find the thought of that so lovely that David and I are hanging out with you at work. This is my favorite hack when I'm truly unmotivated, to bribe myself with snacks or other rewards. After every photo I edit, I get a treat, or by the end of a long hard work day, I get a really tasty ramen dinner and some hardcore Netflix binging. Sometimes I bribe myself with champagne, but that's probably not something to recommend really. I should probably stop that. Bubble bath, a nice movie, buying that gorgeous edition of Rebecca that you've been eyeing for a while. There are plenty ways to treat ourselves that make the most awful work days worthwhile in the end. A productive brain lives in a healthy body. I'm convinced of this. Everything is so much easier when our bodies are happy. Mood, stress coping, focus, aches and back problems, restlessness, you name it. Eating your veg and moving your muscles is game-changing. Monotony is taking over. Every day, every week, every month starts looking the same when we can't go out, meet friends, enjoy a day in the city, or travel anywhere. To break up the rutness of it, it's nice to have a weekly switch up. Something small, like every week changing your type of coffee, or trying a new lunch recipe, or learning a new creative skill, so that each week has something new and nice to offer. If at all possible, depending on your living situation, I'd really recommend having a dedicated space for working. I'm myself quite partial to working on the sofa or some other cozy spot, but what I've really started to appreciate during this lockdown is to have one space dedicated to work and one space for time off, to have some kind of distinction between work and chill mode. It helps the brain know if you should go hard or slow down. And if you're anything like me, for the love of God, keep your workspace tidy. Another way to help our brains is to use the almighty Spotify playlist. I have one playlist for writing, one for reading, one for planning upcoming content, one for meetings with David, and so on. This way, my brain associates a specific playlist with a type of work, and it's so much easier to get in the right mindset. Am I weird being this influenced by music? It really sets the mood for me. Does it affect you the same way? Anyway, I have this one playlist with 2 piano songs. Just 2, that I've been listening to during a fun project that I've been working on for the last few months. Hours and hours and hours of just 2 songs on repeat, and I'm not even tired of it yet. It's so helpful to put that playlist on first thing in the morning to get me in the right frame of mind to be creative. I love it. And it really works for me, so maybe this tip or any of the others will work for some of you guys too. Hang in there, whatever your situation is like right now. It's a bit rough, but there is an end to all this, you know? Let's make the best of it. And please guys, do tell me what you've been struggling with when working from home. And if you have any tips for us that have been working for you, love to hear your clever thoughts as always. That's it. Give me a thumb if you found this video helpful, and the subscribe button is just down there if you're new around here. See you next week already, lovelies. Puss puss and hey do. So my take is this. They can take my photos, they can take a short story I've written, they can take a recipe I've done.
But they will never take your freedom, in the words of Mel Gibson.